I blame the director, Fred
Durst.
Durst.
How dare you?
Lead singer
of Rollin', Bizkit. Hello, and welcome to Camp Counselors, Season 2, baby. Let's go. Woo! Yes. I was the only person clapping, I guess.
No, I was under the table. We're good.
Because I can't see it right now because I'm reading the script. Okay. Welcome to Camp Counselors, a More Butter production where we talk about movies, shows, people that are just kind of nonsensical but a fun time to talk about. I'm joined yet again for Season 2 with the co-hosts, Amanda the Jedi.
What up?
I thought she was going to say something. Never mind. Amanda.
Sorry. I have a channel. You can watch it. It's Amanda the Jedi. Talking
Awesome.
about movies and TV shows and books.
And our guy over here, Mista GG.
This GG YouTube channel. More butter. Love it.
Love it. Great vibes. And I'm KennieJD. I also make videos about stuff that are fun to make videos about. And today we are here to talk about a movie that I actually talked about on my channel as of filming last week. That is John Travolta in the Fanatic 2019. But before we get to that, first of all, we'd like to thank you for enjoying us last season. We're here for a new season and we're excited to make more wonderful content for you. And hopefully if you have any recommendations for movies or topics that you would like us to talk about, we can do those for you. If you put those down in the comment section, feel free to follow us on More Butter. Subscribe here on the More Butter channel. Follow us on Spotify or anywhere else you listen to podcasts. And yeah, let's mosey our way into this one. I have a lot of thoughts. Enough that I already, again, made a video on it. But I was excited to bring this to Camp Counselors because I wanted to know if this movie infuriated people as much as it infuriated me.
Yeah.
And general first impressions on it. But before we get into that, let's talk a bit about what the movie is. So, The Fanatic is a 2019 kind of psychological thriller that follows a man named Moose who is obsessed with a local celebrity. He lives in Hollywood, and he's obsessed with an actor by the name of Hunter Dunbar. And basically, we follow Moose as he goes further and further down into the stalker rabbit hole and subsequently goes too far, if you will. So some cute fun facts that I didn't know until after I'd already made my video, because I would have loved to have said this movie only made $3,000 at the box office. It made a whopping $3,153 at the box office. Oh my gosh.
That was the opening night for it?
It was only 52 theaters.
52 theaters.
But entirely.
It was
entirely.
It was in 52. Yeah, it made $3,000. It was at 52 different theaters across the United States. And that means that the movie did not earn more than $15,000 for the 4-day holiday weekend. So, what? Wait, that doesn't even make sense. Anyway, it made no money.
That maybe the movie's budget might have been $15K, so they were anticipating it making $15K to make back some kind of budgetary thing because it's a holiday weekend. You have those extra days that count.
Yeah, fair. And it didn't even make that. I think that's probably the lowest I've ever seen a movie make that wasn't explicit, that had someone that I recognized in it, John Travolta. Certainly.
And Devin Sawa.
What's Travolta?
Devin Sawa?
Devin Sawa.
What's Travolta at this point? Is he still A-list actor? B-list actor? Where do we put him now?
Travolta hasn't really been... He's former A-lister. I think you go former A-lister. I don't even...
Okay, I think that makes sense.
If you ever hit the A-list, I don't think you can go down. You just become a former.
Well...
Great way to put it.
Well, there's people when you think of it, there's people like those old guy actors that do those random movies now. You know, who's the bald one?
Bruce Willis.
There you go. You got your Bruce Willis. You know,
so he would just be a former
like the
A-lister,
same age
right?
as John Travolta.
Yeah.
Right. You got Bruce Willis. I think the one that used to be hot is also doing something
Steven
similar
Seagal.
to this. No.
No.
Sorry, my bad.
It's
personal
preference,
Season one. No.
No.
He was
The one that
married
used to be hot. You got some
the
else?
one that was married to
Tom
used to be
Cruise.
married- no, used to be
I already said that.
Used to be married to Angelina Jolie.
Oh, Brad
Tom
Pitt.
Cruise.
There you go.
No,
Brad
he's
Pitt.
still A-list. Brad Pitt's still A-list.
Is he?
Brad Pitt's in like, yeah, he's in
Oh,
something
he was
every
in
year.
the-
He can pop up. He was in
what's the
fucking Once
Hollywood
Upon a Time in
movie?
Hollywood.
Yeah,
Once
there you
Upon a
go.
Time in Hollywood.
Okay.
He's still A-list.
Okay.
He's got a new movie
So
coming
it's
out.
just Bruce
He's
Willis.
firmly.
It's
yeah,
just
he's
Bruce
firmly
Willis.
still A-list.
Okay,
Yeah.
So like,
former
I
A-lister
guess,
makes sense.
I guess then
Yeah.
the closest like correlation would be like a Bruce Willis who's just like making
Yeah.
random shit at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know why I also want to say like Mike Tyson, even though he wasn't.
Mike Tyson?
He's hitting his prime, baby. He punched a kid on a plane.
Yeah, that's what's
Not
up.
a kid, an adult idiot male, but still.
Yeah, I support Tyson.
Yeah, me too.
no,
I supported that actually.
No, here's the thing though. Mike Tyson is like one of those people that like because he was an A-list celebrity in a way, he started doing like random stuff at certain points. He had a cartoon.
Yeah, I get what you mean. You mean like someone going from being like the type of person that like the paparazzi would be like hunting down regularly because they're like in the fucking moment,
Right.
to like not being
Doing
in the moment
shit.
anymore,
To
but
just-
everybody still knows who they are.
Just doing shit. That's
Yeah,
what
to
I'm
just doing shit.
And this is definitely like a John Travolta just doing shit
Yeah,
type of
this
experience.
should have been good. Like
Mm-hmm.
it has all the pieces to be good.
It is orchestrating within a
Well-
very like formulaic sense in that we know like stalker movies tend to have a particular layout and it's kind of hard to make
Yeah.
them bad. You can make them quite mediocre. But this one's
They made this bad.
bad. Yeah. They made this bad.
Okay, important question,
Yeah.
and I might be
Yeah.
skipping ahead here a little bit. How much fault do you delegate to Travolta for how bad this film is?
Like
What's-
none, because
None.
it's the writing.
Okay.
Oh, another fun fact though, because this kind of leads into it.
Okay.
I blame the director, Fred
Durst.
Durst.
How dare you?
Limp Bizkit, baby.
You like a little Limp Bizkit? Yeah, used to listen to this back in my day.
Fred Durst.
This movie lets me know that Fred Durst has never dealt with a serious stalker issue in his fucking life.
Fred Durst directed this masterpiece. If you do not recognize the name, that is the leader, right, of Limp Bizkit.
Lead singer.
Lead singer of Rollin',
Bizkit.
Rollin' Bizkit.
That's what
He
pissed
did
me
it all
off when
for
they
the
played
nookie.
it. I was like, bro,
When they played it.
play a better song. I'm not a huge fan of this one.
Yeah.
Like, all right, whatever.
That's the only song I know from Limp Bizkit. It's Rollin'.
I think that
He did it
My
all
Way.
for the nookie.
Oh, did it all for the nookie. Yeah. Like, so it's directed by him and also apparently loosely based off of a real stalker situation. And I'm going to say very loosely.
Very loosely.
Very loosely.
And again, must not have been that bad based on how it fucking ends.
If he's supposed to be like the person that is the victim of stalking, he made himself look like a dick. Like,
Look at John Travolta. I think Fred Durst was the stalker in this situation. Look at Fred Durst's
allegedly.
hair. Look at John Travolta's hair. Sorry. But yeah, so yeah, if you couldn't guess, this movie's about a stalker.
Yes.
He's a fanatic, but he hates being called a stalker.
Right.
Yeah.
He's just
Not a
finding his
stalker.
house for funsies.
No, he's just a
just-
very devoted fan.
Very devoted
Of
fan.
course. And
And
he
you
just
are
wants an
nothing without
autograph.
your fans. He just
Right.
wants a fucking
He just wants a
autograph, man.
fucking autograph. Hunter can't give it to him. Hunter could have ended the movie at like 25 minutes, but he did not do so because he sucks. And then we need more. We need more after that.
Like, so the thing that got me to watch this is because someone shared it to me on Twitter, which is where all of the best terrible things are found. and it was just the photo of John Travolta, and it says like the tagline, "All he wanted was."
That's
This
terrible.
has been on my list to talk about. Because I saw this back
Terrible.
in 2019. This has been on my list for so long.
It's so
and now I feel
bad.
like you've given me the ability to like. I'm gonna jump on the KennieJD train. My turn.
Honestly, it's a very symbiotic thing at this point, because you'll do something and I'm like, I remember saying I need to watch that. I need to.
Yeah, or it's all like, what the fuck? MGK made a movie.
So it's totally fair. We are
Hell
the
yeah.
world. YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. It's a community.
It's a community. And also, that's partially why I brought it here, because even though I just did a video on it, I'm like, there must be more comedy to be had with
Yeah.
several people watching this movie, because I found myself having a hard time. I was struggling between like being like pretty offended by the movie and then like being like so distraught by watching it that I found parts funny, and and ultimately like the like pretty offended part outweighed the rest of it. But there is something to be said about this movie, and I guess I just wanted to hear everybody else's opinions on their first reaction without
I
going
get that.
too deeply into it. Let's check it. Any first thoughts from people?
I think it's just really irresponsible as a movie with how it handles certain things, and especially how it ends. And it's trying to make you feel sympathetic. And to an extent, like a lot of times when I get situations like this, not this bad, but like when I have people like that, it's like I know that there is probably something wrong with you and you could probably benefit from like some therapy, some help, some kind of intervention, but that is not my concern.
Right.
And I need to take care of myself, so fuck you. And this movie is trying to make you feel like you just don't know what they're going through.
And
You
that
don't
was my
know.
core issue with it too. Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't give a shit what's going on with them. Like, stop enabling him. He's like 60. What about you, Mike?
This is I've been trying to figure out how to put this in words for a while. This movie is offensive to a certain extent, and I feel like rudely enough, me talking about it is not going to make me sound offensive, but the movie's making me do this, so these are my thoughts, right?
Okay.
Travolta, the character he plays, from what I read, is supposed to be autistic, right?
Yes.
Because there's just a bunch of random shit he does throughout the movie. He gets distracted easily. He says goofy stuff. Sometimes he doesn't know how
Like
to
the
do certain
fixation thing
things.
too.
Yeah.
Like he's fixated on certain
he
things.
rocks and stuff like that.
Yeah, he rocks. Self-soothing. A lot of
Self-soothing.
self-soothing
I think it's called
emotions and stuff.
stemming or something. Like
Stemming? Okay.
I don't know how far they went into research wise, but I know a lot of it ties into them moving the plot along as well, because I feel like it's almost like they have a free reign character. I can make you do whatever I want because there doesn't need to be an explanation for why you've done this or for why now you're choosing to do this. Like, I don't want to give too much away, but like, you know, in some scenarios,
Give it all.
he's hiding and then he gives his location away. Another scenario, he's hiding and he does not, even though there might be something that might have provoked him in that moment, but he chooses not to. And it's just like, I feel like you took advantage of this character in a way to just keep everything moving along, and I don't know. It's weird to explain. Does that resonate with any of you? Am I fucking
Yeah,
stupid?
you know, I
Yes.
get what you're saying.
Because
Yeah.
one of the things that I struggled with a lot in making my video is that I felt like this movie was gaslighting me. I felt like I'm gonna say something that's gonna make it sound like I'm a problem when it's like the movie's the problem.
Yeah.
And I was like, because essentially, if you haven't seen the movie, they don't explicitly say he has autism, but you can gather that something along those lines is afoot. And then if you look it up on like Wikipedia or something like that, it says explicitly that it's autism.
Yeah, you have to look it up. And
Right,
it says it.
when you look it up. And so, you know, that in and of itself, I was like, hey, that's not great. That's not awesome. And then I'm just like, wow, okay, that's a choice. And then, but they present him as such a sympathetic figure. as if we're supposed to ignore that he's stalking somebody. And there's a lot of like trying to make the object of his fixation, the person he's stalking, like seem unnecessarily rude, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is it unnecessary? If you see a random 60-year-old man run up to you in the middle of a private conversation you're having in a dark alley, would you not also say, hey, back the fuck up? Like, I feel like
after like you got into like an argument, when it's like you just had to fucking wait inside, buddy. You just had to wait inside. Like, and then that person just like keeps showing up. And so, like, this whole thing is being narrated by this character named Leah, who's, like, a paparazzi who's, like, taken some sympathy on him, is trying to help him get autographs from different people, but unintentionally, like, enables him into being able to find this guy's address.
Right.
And she's kind of narrating things, kind of like, you know, maybe I should take some ownership over, like, what happened next, and, like, walking through it like that, as if it's some kind of, like, PI investigation story. It's like, I never knew what was going to happen on that dark, stormy night.
I mean...
fun fact, though, Leah is from Degrassi. Next class. First class. Next class. The bad one?
The bad one. The one that Drake's not
You tried,
in.
girl? Yeah, you tried. But it's like, it's so weird to like have this character that's like walking through it who knows that what he's doing is wrong and will say it out loud that what he's doing is wrong. But then like in these voiceovers is being like, yeah, they guess they say you should never meet your heroes because you never know what's on the other side. And it's all like, I'm sure he's perfectly nice to fans that don't fucking intrude on private moments and then track him down to his house.
There's also a part where she's kind of like in the introduction of like when we're seeing Moose for the first time, she kind of refers to him as like someone just, you know, some of us just have that endless resilience and that will to survive or whatever. And I'm like, is that how we want to frame this?
Let's like, not encourage this.
Is that how we want to understand this sequence of events of just like an undying devotion and paint that into like, yeah, it's not great, but he's mean for saying, get the fuck off my property.
Yeah, exactly. Like the only time he was like a little bit much was when he had followed him into the alley. I could understand the kind of like, hey man, like learn some fucking boundaries. I was going to be like right back in, but he immediately kind of flips to the kind of like, let me sign your fucking face with my fist. Like maybe that's a little bit excessive. Yeah. Dude's got some anger issues, but as we've learned, not an unreasonable reaction because this guy's a genuine stalker.
Yeah. The narration felt so like shoehorned into me to just try and uphold this desperate message they're trying to relay to you. It's like, hey guys, just
be kind to the people around you.
It's like
you don't know what they're going through.
Trying to link it all together. I was like, ugh.
You can create the stalker.
Yeah, like fuck.
Be careful to the people. Be careful and kind to the people that completely walk over your specific boundaries. You never know what they're going through. And it's like, I'm sure you're going through plenty. I assume you're going through plenty. That's none of my fucking problem. Like, I don't get it.
Exactly. But even that is only a partial problem with this movie because then it just doesn't make sense.
No.
When it winds down. I don't know when we want to dive into the spoilers and stuff.
We can ruin it.
It's like 2019. I don't People should have like seen this by now. Okay, so yeah, it like winds down into it. And there's so many situations where this dude should have called the cops.
Yes.
Or that somebody should have called the cops. Like he has found his house. At one point he jumps the fence to leave a letter. He does it again. Like he accidentally kills the maid. And then no one notices for like 2 days. So that's like problem one.
Who Hunter was apparently in love with or had a partial relationship with, and he didn't notice she's been dead for like days.
And like hasn't noticed that like, that's weird. My doors were unlocked when I got home, and she's just nowhere to be found.
He just never went in the garden because apparently nobody hid the body.
Yeah, because he didn't even like consider that. He just was like, he's like literally this woman is like passed out bleeding from her nose, and he's all like, when you just need to put some tissue up your nose and blood, and then he realizes that he can just walk into the house. And he does a bunch of creepy shit. Like he realizes he takes sleeping pills so he can like stalk him. So he starts taking like selfies with them while he's is asleep and like posting it to his social media, and nobody calls the cops. Like Leah sees it and just goes to confront him. Doesn't call the cops.
No, I feel
and it
like
just keeps getting worse.
I think the movie can be summed up with like, why did nobody call the cops?
Yeah, this is one of those times. I'm like, this is a very fitting time. And if like you're a celebrity, you already have access to like more.
So much
things.
security measures
So
that
much
can
security.
be taken.
Like
this
yeah,
asshole
like,
goes and he tells his landscaper, he's like, keep an eye out. What the fuck is he gonna do?
And then yeah, and so after he's already told the landscaper that somebody creepy has been around, so the movie ends very weird. Like he basically the actor wakes up like strapped to his bed. And then this guy's just kind of like, I'm not a stalker. I can't let you go because you're going to get me in trouble. And I'm just going to make you food and we're going to have fun.
And I'm going to play out different movies.
Yeah, like shoots his hands off. Doesn't shoot him, shoots his hands off. Then like shoots next to both his ears to like deafen him. Then stabs him in the eye. But then this guy doesn't die. And then he just lets him leave. He doesn't call the cops. Doesn't say this dude just had me fucking strapped to a bed. And then he just wanders off, but then the gardener ends up finding the housekeeper's dead body finally after 2 days. And then he calls the cops. Somebody calls the cops finally.
And blames it on the guy who was being stalked.
Yeah, and then he goes to jail, and I guess he's like, well, I guess I'll just go to jail for murder instead of shooting an intruder's hand off.
I guess DNA evidence doesn't exist in this movie. Gotta take this one on the chest.
This dude's fingers
like,
would be in the house.
You don't have cameras? You rich ass doesn't have cameras in the backyard?
Why is the alibi? You got cameras, you got fingers, you got like the fucking straps all over the bed. You've got like, there's so
I hate that
much.
Hunter looks at the camera at the end when he's in the back of the police car. He's like, damn. Guess I gotta do the time. This is what happens. Like, you didn't do anything, Hunter. What the fuck? Why are you looking? Why are you looking like, damn, they got me?
And the thing about that scene that's so fascinating to me is like they made it sound like Hunter was going too far. Like they made him into a bit of a sadist, right? And it's like, I'm stalking down moose. And sorry. I don't know what that
Going
was.
moose hunting today.
Going moose hunting. And then like I'm like, he doesn't even like, I mean, where's he going? He's missing a hand and he's missing an eye. He's going to be here. Let me call the police. I'll just like, obviously he's not going anywhere. And he's like, yeah, I'll just shoo you out of my house. And he's able to go the rest of his life. And then throughout the movie, there's like these random like,
drawings.
Yeah, the drawings.
Yeah.
And they're hideous. They're terrifying. But, you know, art, whatever, subjective. But the final one, they show him with like a hook and an eye patch like a pirate and with Leah as his guardian angel. Mm-hmm. It fades to black and then they put in that I am not a stalker to end out the movie
traditionally
on an epic
what
note.
Stalkers say.
Chilling. And I was like, this is one of the worst movie experiences I've had in a long time.
I think it's just because like it has all the pieces where it could be kind of like not good but like quirky fun if it actually ended. Like I was like, okay, he's gonna die or he's gonna get arrested or something else is gonna happen here. Like it's really gonna push to the next level and then it just doesn't happen. It just completely fizzles out and then this dude gets arrested and we're supposed to just believe that it's like, he goes to jail. Other guy just gets to live his life as a fucking like colonial performer. Not
my
colonial,
thing
but
is
British.
Whatever the fuck.
My thing is like,
I think it's colonial.
I don't know what you wanted me to feel by the end of this movie. That's the thing I'm struggling with. Like, did you want me to be like, yay, he didn't get caught? Or, upsetting how the world, like, did you want me to be upset that Moose didn't get caught? Or did you want me to be happy that he didn't get caught?
Because I'm upset.
I'm very upset.
And I think they want us to be happy because it starts with a quote, like, you're nothing without your fans. Mm-hmm. Which, to an extent, is true. Like, you should, if you are someone in a big position that you are there because people are fans of you, there's a certain degree of, like, some kindness that you can afford there. But you don't owe anyone anything, especially when it starts encroaching on, like, your safety. And your life. And, like, somebody's perception of reality. So I don't know if he's actually trying to make the stand of like, yeah, you got to put up with more shit and this wouldn't have happened. But like, I think he would have gotten that bad. It would have just taken longer. Like once he meets him, that's step one of elevation. So even if he had signed him in his head, he was all like, he's going to love me. We're going to be best friends, blah, blah, blah. So like now that he's met him, he finds out about that star tracking app. He's just going to go to the house and be like, we're old friends. We're buddies. I actually almost would have wished the movie had approached it that way, where he hadn't been rude to him that first interaction and he had just been like, hey man, thanks for the support. There's your book. Just kind of awkward because he's just kind of like, I'm a big fan of all your movies and I love you so much. And dude just does the like, oh man, thank you so much for the support. Here's your autograph. Have a good one. And then he kind of goes off into this like crazy, like we're buddy direction rather than it being like, oh man, you were rude to me, but at the same time, I'm the only reason why you have a career.
I mean,
like,
it would have been understood. Like if
would have
someone
made more sense.
If someone's already,
because you could still
like,
get there.
Yeah, like if someone's already kind of like viewing the parasocial relationship that heavy already, they'll get there regardless. Like there's nothing that like you could have done to really propel that. But now there's like, I guess, a begrudging entitlement now where it's like, I'm gonna be in your house. There are parts of this movie that I don't know if it was intended to be funny. I think probably. Like,
yeah.
Like what? What are you thinking specifically?
Well, there's a few scenes in particular that admittedly did really make me laugh. It shouldn't have, because they're like childish jokes, but like the first words to come out of Moose's mouth is like,
can't talk much.
Hurry up, I gotta poo, or something like that.
Yeah, it's all like, I can't stay and talk much. I gotta poo.
And I was like, oh.
It's way funnier that the P isn't there. It's not poop. It's just, I gotta poo. That makes it like,
I'm very
so
upset.
much funnier.
I'm very upset because one of the actual scenes that made me laugh, like I'm a grown woman and I laughed very hard at when he was talking to the random guy on the street. And he was like because he has a bully. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, he has like a bully on the street who's also, because Moose is a street performer and there's other rival street performers. And he's like talking to someone on the street about the rival street performer. And he basically says he's full of doo-doo. And I don't know why that made me laugh, but it left me weak. Like it's something, it just caught me off guard. But other than that, most of the movie was just befuddling. I was just confused the entire time.
It's really weird because I actually thought, because of that bully, so the whole thing is that like some other guy, like one of the security guards is like, hey man, like you got to stand up to these people. You can't let them like mess you around. So then he finally does stand up to him. So then in my mind, I was like, oh man, he's going to get like violent with this guy now. And you're like, Amanda, you just talked about him like tying him to a bed. And I'm like, yeah, but he wasn't violent with him then. He was like joking with him. He was all like, oh, I'm really mad at you and I burned all our stuff. And like, you're probably going to call the cops on me. But like, I'm going to act out scenes from Night of the Living Dead. I'm going to come at you with the Jason mask. Well, it's going to be so fun. I thought he was going to get real violent.
He got violent with the bully, though. And that is another scene that made me laugh. I'm not gonna
and it was good. That's what I mean. So I thought getting violent with the bully was going to lead to the escalation. He was going to misinterpret it. He was going to be like, I need to stand up for myself. So I'm going to stand up to these people calling me stalkers and being mean and rude. So I'm going to kill Hunter Dunbar. But it doesn't go that direction. It goes into like, he does escalate and get really weird and like strap him down, but it's still because he's looking for something from him, not to like stand up to him.
Right. I will say when he stood up to the bullies, that was funny. I shouldn't have.
Yeah, it was funny. He was all like, I wish that you would get to ride in the street and people would be laughing. I would laugh so fucking hard.
6 things in a row. Just not... the part with that I found, because once he stands up to his bully, right, and he chokes the guy, I believe this scene's afterward. He kills the maid after that, correct? That's the correct timeline?
No, the maid was before, because it was after he had already posted the pictures of being in the house. So he killed the maid the day he was in the house.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh, wait. No. He did kill the maid after, I think.
I think he killed... Yeah. The reason why I was going to say that, because then I thought it was just the same premise. It's like, oh, he's standing up for himself again because she's hitting him with like a feather.
Oh, yeah, and he pushes her.
Like,
right.
Yeah, and then kills her. So it's just like,
so I thought it was going to keep escalating.
Yeah, but then like, he just said, you've been jigsawed. And I was like, nice.
Yeah.
Happy about this.
Yeah, because you're right. It would have been before that, because it's when he first goes to see Leah to be like, oh my God, you were right. this app works. So it was the first time he goes to his house and then he sees Leah. And then the second time he goes is when he like knocks her out and then like hides in the house when they get back because he had fallen asleep.
Or maybe
and then like...
It might be the third time because he drops a letter at one point. And that's how...
Yeah, so the letter... Oh yeah, right. Yes, okay. Maid sees him the first time, he drops letter, he goes talk to Leah to talk about how great it is. That,
over the house.
Yeah, and she's like, I left him a letter, but his wife's really mean because he thought that like the maid was his wife, the housekeeper was his wife. And then the third time is when he goes back and she dies. Right. Okay.
But yeah, I was just very confused about all of the choices that came together to make this film. I guess we've been harping on it. Do we have any positives? I guess let's ask the peoples.
Genuinely?
Yeah, you go. Yeah.
No. I don't have I don't have any positives. I don't know. Why do I feel like I kind of like the score? I might be making that up right now. I don't remember.
I think it was good.
I think I kind of like the score. If I had a positive, boom, there you go. Everything else,
not even like I like it. It's I kind of like.
There were parts that made me laugh, kind of in the same way you did. I don't know why. There was a scene. I think it was the way it was framed, but it's when he's on the couch watching Hunter's movies after he already meets him. And he's like, Hunter Dunbar, Hunter Dummy Bar, and then it shows the frame from the back. And he stands up and he's like, anybody can do this. I don't know why that made me laugh so much.
You're just pretending.
That was great for me, but other than that I got nothing else for it.
I like the premise. I like movies that like deal with like I like things that deal with parasocial relationships. I like, because again, actually talking about Spree, which isn't going to make sense. We talk about Spree for our next week's episode. Not in that, but just as an aside, which Spree is like Joe Keery from Stranger Things. He's like a rideshare driver he's really escalating to try to get like any kind of like online fame and notoriety. Like just very cringy in all of his behavior. But it's that same kind of thing where he has this like disconnect in his head of like thinking that he's way cooler than he actually is and all these people should want to be his friends and blah, blah, blah. So that similar kind of disconnect you get with like the John Travolta character where he's like, no, I'm not a stalker. I'm like just a fan. I'm an appreciator of movies, I say as I'm climbing into his backyard. Like, you know, it's like, so I'm always interested in movies that deal with premises like that. So I think there was potential here, but like anytime you make a stalker sympathetic and then adding in like that he's supposed to be autistic, like that gets like really fucking weird because it's almost like it's not his fault. He's autistic, which is like not true at all. That's not a thing. True. It's like, oh, well, that person got murdered by a stalker, but we can't send them to jail because they have autism. Like that's not an excuse.
As if like autistic people are just going around jumping fists in people's backyards. Exactly. That's the thing. I'm like, that's not a thing.
Yeah, it's not a thing.
Which also makes me think of I know it's a bit of a fucking meme, but the little line that gets repeated where it says, I'm not a stalker at the very end of the movie. I was like, okay, is that like a cheesy thing to like finish it off? Or is that you doubling down saying he wasn't a stalker at the end of the day? He had reason. There was some nuance here. Because then I was like, are we siding with him?
That's what I mean. Like
that's what it feels like.
Because especially with Hunter going to jail, it's like, well, he was really mean to him.
He's a bad guy, so he deserved everything that happened to him.
Shouldn't have been a bully pants.
You shouldn't have been mean to him.
Yeah, fuck that maid. She deserved to die.
Yeah, it's like so fucking weird. It's just such a weird stance to take on so many levels, even if that's not the stance you're making, but you don't walk away feeling like ominous of like, fuck, this could be anyone, anywhere, at any given time to anyone. You're just kind of like,
this is a terrible fucking
shit, he was just like a really fucking dedicated fan, guys. Like, oh, I don't know.
And which is also perplexing from a person that
he's a celebrity.
He's a celebrity.
But
to be fair, Fred Durst is the kind of celebrity who has gamed the notoriety side of things. So he has stayed really relevant by being in a lot of like those like reality shows and building his fame that way. So like a career that should have died out in like 2001, 2000, if not, he has managed to keep riding for two decades because he's just gotten involved in all this random shit. So like I almost feel like someone like that is a little bit more open to like, you should be nice to the people that support you because you've literally gamed them into getting a career. But I don't know. I can't imagine that's the stance he's taking.
Because especially if he's saying like, oh, this is loosely based off of my own stalking experience.
I don't like that. Is that what I mean? Does he walk away thinking like, maybe if I'd been nicer to this person, this wouldn't have happened?
I'm sorry,
but that's
Fred.
but again, that's not what would have happened. They would have elevated in a different way. Like, as someone who's dealt with nothing to that extent, but like really weird people online that if I knew where they lived, if they were anywhere near me, I would actually be afraid.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter what you do. If you try to nicely ask them to stop, they escalate. If you get rude with them, they escalate. Like, if you're this type of person, there is nothing you can do. And this movie shows that time and time again, that no matter how many times people try to reason, like, you can't go here, you can't come here, you can't do this shit, he just keeps doing it.
So it's like now and then also as an offshoot, kind of blaming that on like autistic fixation, which again, not a fan of. Like,
not a fan. Because like, you know what? You can say, well, the system failed him. Like, somebody should have been able to like get him to the point where they understand. But no, it's been encouraged at every stage. Like, Leah literally helps him sneak in to some kind of fancy event to try to hunt him down.
That's the thing about Leah that pisses me off. Because she knows Moose. I highly doubt this is the first time that a Moose has done this before.
What I'm saying?
And so she's like, yeah, I'm going to tell you where I go to get pictures of celebrities.
Just promise me you won't go there.
It's like,
you can't, you know. You have to know.
Like,
she should be the line of defense. She should have been the one who was all like, I'm not going to take you into a party. I'm not going to do this. Like,
and he does it anyway.
How you behave. And he does it anyway. But that's what I mean. She starts it. She literally puts people in a position where they could be at risk. Like,
it's just, I guess overall, I'm just confused with your motivation.
Yeah.
Why did you make this movie?
Yeah, because I remember when I watched the trailer, I thought it was going more in the direction that I thought it was going in, where we're watching somebody become obsessed that doesn't think they're obsessed, and how like scary that gets, and how like concerning that can be, and how they might try to reason it in their heads, and you get a little bit of that, but then it's like the movie isn't making a stand against it.
It's
not making a neutral stance either.
It's somehow picking both sides at the same time, but also not
enough the right side.
It feels it feels a little pro stalker.
It does, because it's all like, oh, he's shitty. He has this problem where he just like serially makes moves on his employee. He is rude to people, but like, you know, they also show him being like a good dad who cares about his kid and is like literally willing to like turn down a job if his kid to be away from his kid, and like, yeah, it's so weird. It's just so weird, and I hate it because I feel like there's a lot of good setup there.
There's a movie there
that they just ruin at every turn, and again, making him autistic is just a very weird choice. Like, and like having it be explicit. If it's like a thing, it's like we've created this character who's kind of like a little coded to be this way, but then we're not going to condone it. That's one thing, but like
he's in a very like stereotypical depiction of autism.
It's like a caricature.
Yeah,
it's like a caricature of somebody who has like, you know, autism. I guess probably, I know they don't use it anymore, but like what would have been like Asperger's, like what they would have called Asperger's like 5 years ago, but they've moved off of that. So it's like that kind of like fixation, but he's gotten to the point that he's like 60 and no one's told him to chill out. Like, yeah.
And now we're left with nothing but emptiness inside.
Yeah.
So we got any words to close us out here? Any final thoughts?
I think this movie is just, I mean, I agree with Amanda that there was something there. And I think he did not hit the nail on the head. And to me, that's why this movie just ends up being kind of nothing, kind of forgettable. I watched it yesterday, and I'm just like, leave my brain as soon as you can. I need more room for other stuff there. So
yeah,
I really got nothing out of it. It's just kind of unintentionally funny at sometimes, and that's sad. you're making me feel bad. Fuck you. You put it on the movie.
Yeah. Fuck.
I am not a stalker, and this is not a good movie.
This is not. I'm not a stalker.
So I guess just a quick read-in. Obviously, we're not the only people that reached this consensus. It was at a 16% on Rotten Tomatoes from critics, 29% from audience scores.
That's high.
Let's see. An unpleasant watch any way you slice it. The Fanatic has contempt for both its character and audiences. This is the worst movie of the year, quite possibly, but it absolutely must be experienced. I disagree.
I can maybe agree with that. This is a weird one where I actually don't think it's... The movie we're talking about next week is one that I say in no uncertain terms, don't fucking waste your time. It is shorter than this, and it is not worth your time. This I could at least pop it on while you're cleaning, pop it on while you're doing something, just to understand what we're saying.
The vibe.
We're watching a movie where someone is literally hunting someone down in their home, and they're kind of trying to make us feel sympathetic for them. Literally at one point the girl's like, poor Moosey. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean, poor Moosey?
Fuck Moosey. Bring it out.
Yeah, fuck.
Oh God. So yeah, I think we're all kind of leaning on a general. Maybe that is the consensus. Fuck Moosey. And,
fuck Moosey.
And
this.
Moosey's kind of a dumb name too. That's my
Yeah. Just as a random aside, one of the things I see this compared to a lot, oddly enough, because it came out in 2019, and Joker gets compared to it too, for very obvious reasons, is King of Comedy. Is Scorsese's King of Comedy, where it's this guy, but that does take condemnation at its main character, being this fucking weirdo and imagining things in his head that aren't actually reality. King of Comedy is an actual good movie. This one, it's it's really good, and if you watch it, you'll understand why Joker took a lot from it. Because Joker kind of does a similar thing where you're with this weirdo character that's doing a bunch of shit he shouldn't do, and you're almost put in a position where you're supposed to feel sympathetic for him. But this does it to the extreme. A lot of the really, really harsh condemnations of the Joker, this is that, but so heightened with how it's trying to make you feel sympathy for this person.
And it's just frustrating.
Yeah.
Ugh. But if that's all,
what are we rating it?
What are we giving it? Are we giving it what is it, from a toasty s'more to a camp on fire, whatnot?
Yeah, tent on fire to delicious s'more. And we are thinking delicious s'mores across the board.
Of course.
Baby.
Awesome.
10. No, honestly,
Masterpiece.
I'm not even trying to. I started watching this movie. I started to edit midway through this movie because I was like, I don't need to be watching this direct. This doesn't need my undivided attention.
No.
It really doesn't. It's a great background movie. And I was like, oh, ha, Travolta, you silly boy. And then I just went back to doing what I was doing. I'm giving this a 1. Yeah, I think just a 1. I can't give it anything else. Do I think it needs to be watched? I mean, you can. I wouldn't. I'm kind of on the same train with Amanda there. The movie we talk about next week, no need. You're good. Don't worry about it.
Good.
This movie, sure. You want to see Travolta in his most daring performance yet? Go ahead.
He commits. He hard commits, and
the
writing is, he does a really good job. For
Yeah.
what they asked for, he does a really good job. Whether the character ever should have been written is another conversation.
Also, they were doing an award push for him a bit for this, which I find hilarious. But
because they're like, man, the Academy loves it when people get physical, the physicality of the role. It's God. But I give it a 1 out of 5, actually, I think. Because I think, in terms of our rating scale, it's a tent on fire, but I think there's a semi-burnt s'more in there that you can kind of be it's not great, but it's something I can eat. Got a little sweet fix.
will I die of carcinogens? Maybe, but it is something to eat if you're starving.
Yeah, I did have to skip by the 2 times I've watched this movie really quickly when he goes up to the woman at that party, whose name is oddly enough Amanda, And he's like, oh my God, Amanda, I think you're such a good actress. You definitely do more horror roles. I'm like, oh my God, what's he going to do to this woman? What's he going to do to this woman? What's he going to fucking do? What's he going to do? It's fine, but it's just like the secondhand cringe of it that you're like, oh no.
If you
Because that's before you can get angry at him. Once you can get angry at him for doing the things you're doing, you're like smooth sailing. But like at that point, you're just kind of like, Leah, why did you set him up like this?
I feel like you can get angry.
She's there too, and she sees him going
is.
like hunch over and like sniff blueberries or caviar or whatever the fuck is there. And she just looks over like Moosey, just doing Moosey things.
Just making me possibly get fired.
Yeah.
Because I just wanted him to do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely saying Tent on Fire over and over again. I think about equal to. I don't think you even need to watch the movie. Like I'm more in that thing. I'm giving it a lot similar to what we're gonna talk about next week. Giving it about a 2, maybe 1.5 even. It's
Out of 10. Out of 10.
Out of 10. Out of 10.
You're out of 10. Okay, I'm going by the letterbox 5. So my 1 is higher than. That's about a 2.
2.
It's about a 2.
2.5. All right, so that's all for this week, folks. And my camera's about to die, so we're going to make this speedy. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Again, feel free to follow us all on More Butter. Where can we find you guys?
You can find me everywhere as at Amanda the Jedi.
Mista GG, YouTube, the Mista GG, Twitter.
Awesome. And you can find me at KennieJD on all social media. And be sure to butter your popcorn. I don't do it as good as Amanda.
And make sure to butter your popcorn.
That's how you
gotta
do
get
it.
the cadence.